Hey guys, Huck Sports Cards here. Hope everybody's doing great today. Guys, I really appreciate all the comments on my last video, and I kind of want to do a second part to that today. With all the comments that were made, I had a lot of good observations with all these comments, and I wanted to talk about those today. And so the first observation that I had, and a kind of a question for you guys, and I would love for you guys to answer this, is should the Baseball Hall of Fame be easier, harder, or stay the same to get into? So should it be easier to get into the Hall of Fame, harder to get in the Hall of Fame, or just stay the way it is now on the voting? My observation was that a lot of people would like a lot of different people into the Hall of Fame. But the truth is, not all those guys are up to that 1%, as we talked about. And what I'm talking about 1% is, in baseball, in the Baseball Hall of Fame, there's been 268 players that have been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame out of 20,272 that played the game. Okay, so that's a 1.3% average. So only 1.3% of the players get into the Hall of Fame in Major League Baseball. Where in the NFL, you have 362 players have been elected into the Hall of Fame out of 25,000 players that have played. So that's about a 1.4%. So just a hair over what baseball does. But this was kind of shocking to me, and I'd found this out before, but looked this up again. But in the NBA, they've had 178 players elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame out of 4,706 that have played. And that is 3.7%. So in the NBA Hall of Fame, 3.7% of the players that have ever played have made the Hall of Fame, compared to football, 1.4%, and baseball, 1.3%. So my question to you today is, and I would love to know your answers, I appreciate if you all would comment on this, would you like the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame, to be harder to get into, easier to get into, or stay the same? And guys, something that I saw in the comments that really surprised me, one of the people that was commenting made a comparison between two players. And this one player, they, a lot of people on the comments were saying they wanted this guy in, they would vote for him. But only one person mentioned this guy, and this was the guy that compared the two players by stats. And I just want to read off some of their stats and just let you see that the similarities between the two players. But like I said, the one guy, a lot of people were talking about, but only one person mentions this other guy. So I want to just read some of these stats off to you. So one player had 56.5 WAR number, while the other one had 42.4. The one guy had 2,176 hits, the other 2,153. The one player had 284 home runs, the other player had 222. The one player had a batting average of 303, while the other one had a batting average of 307. Both of them were six-time All-Stars, which I don't really put much stock into the All-Stars because a lot of times that's fans voting and everything. So it's not always the best players, but they did both make the All-Star team 6 times. The one had 1 Gold Glove, while the other had 9 Gold Gloves. One of them was 2 Silver Slugger, while the other one had 3 Silver Slugger awards. The fielding percentage for the one was .992, while the other one was .996. The one won a NLCS playoff MVP. The other one actually won a league MVP. But the one that won the National League MVP, was top 5 in MVP voting 4 times, while the other one was top 5 in MVP voting 3 times. And for the playoffs, the one had 31 games in the playoffs. He batted at .333 with an on base of .409 with 5 home runs and 16 RBIs. And like I said, he won the NLCS MVP one year. While the other one in the playoffs, he only played 5 games in the playoffs, but his batting average was .417 with an on base of .440, 1 home run, and 6 RBIs. So guys, I just wanted you to see that they're very, very similar. I mean, the one guy was a little bit better defensively, while I think the other guy was a little bit better offensively. And unfortunately for the one guy, he only played in 5 playoff games. The other guy played in a few more. So, but they're very comparable. And so these two guys, I would say, are pretty equal to whether they should get in the Hall of Fame or not get in the Hall of Fame. So, like the previous segment that I was talking about, you know, should it be easier, harder, or the same to get in the Baseball Hall of Fame? Well, I would think these two guys here, that if it was easier to get in the Hall of Fame, they both would be in. You know, but if it's harder, they're not neither one of them. And to be honest with you, if it stays the same, probably neither one of these guys make it in. And the guy that had the 42.4 WAR numbers was Don Mattingly, okay? And the other guy was Will Clark. So, you know, a lot of people in the comments all talked about Don Mattingly and stuff like that, but only one person said something about Will Clark. And if you look at their stats and everything, they're very comparable. So I think that if it stays the same and it's not easier to get in, if it stays the same or harder, that I don't think either one of these guys are going to make it into the Hall of Fame. So, but that was just my observation from the comment one gentleman made. Another observation I had was, out of all the comments that I had, and there was a ton of comments, and like I said, I really appreciate that. But out of all the comments I've had on that, it really looks like a lot of people want Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens to make it in. And so my observation was, a lot of people have passed that whole steroid thing and feel like they are deserving to get in, okay? But I did have a lot of people say, well, they're cheaters and they shouldn't get in. But if you look overall, I would say it was probably close to 75% of the people. If those people picked 4 players, like I asked, of those 4 players, out of the 8 players, pick 4 that you would want in, I bet you close to 75% of them probably did pick Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens in there. Okay, so my observation is that those guys may have a good chance to get in. It might not be this time, but it is going to be sometime, because people are starting to lessen their opinion, I guess, on that, and feel like maybe, you know, after 10 years of not getting in on the writer's ballot, that it might be the time for them to get in. So that's just an observation I had also on that. Well, guys, I really appreciate you watching today. I appreciate you watching the last episode and all the great comments. Looking forward to that vote on, I think it's December 4th, on who's going to get in on the 8 that were selected to be on the ballot. Now, that committee is made up of 16 people, and you have to get 12 votes so 12 out of 16 for the 75% to get voted in. Now, each one of those 16 people have 3 votes, so they can't vote for all 8 of them and everything. I guess they can vote for just 1, but they can only vote for up to 3 people. So I'm just curious of how that's going to play out, because are you going to have 12 of them vote for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens? I don't know. It's going to be very surprising to see how this turns out. But guys, I appreciate you watching today. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Well, guys, until next time, we'll see you later.